Shabbat Shalom, everyone. You know, one of my favorite moments of each and every week is when we're getting ready for Shabbat dinner. And Meredith has lit the Neirot, the candles, and we've sung Shalom Aleichem and Eshet Chayil. And the two of us get to put our hands on Elior's little kepi and whisper words to him that Jewish parents have whispered to their children for thousands of years. We first tell him that we love him, that we're proud of him, and then we get to say, Yisimcha Elohim Ephrayim and Menashe. May God bless you like he blessed Ephrayim and Menashe. That's the minhag for boys, the tradition that for male children we pray each week that God make them like the sons of Joseph, that we read about in this week's Torah portion in our Parashat Me-ketz. And just as a quick aside, in our home we also include a minhag of our own, where we include the blessing traditionally given for girls, that God should make Elior, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, like our matriarchs, like our great ancestral grandmothers, before we conclude with the words of Birkat Kohanim. But the reason we include the names of the matriarchs, I'm afraid, will have to be for a sermon on another day, because this morning I want to focus on those first two names. Because if you think about it, they seem a little out of place. Out of the extensive list of male tzaddikim, of our patriarchs, of the righteous ones who came before us, the leaders that paved the way for the Jewish people, that we would choose as the paradigm of blessing, Ephrayim and Menashe. Because, listen, I'm not trying to put anyone on the spot here or be judgy at all, but I invite you, wherever you are right now, to take a second to think about everything you know about these two brothers, about Ephrayim and Menashe. So go ahead. It should really only take you a second. It should be all you need, because the Torah doesn't spend a lot of time talking about these young men. We know that they are the sons of Yosef, the sons of Joseph, born to Joseph's wife, Osnat, who was a high-ranking Egyptian woman, the daughter of Potiphar. And we know that despite being grandchildren to Yaakov, they are legally adopted by him. He formally adopts them to make them his children, so that they can share in the tribal inheritance, making them 2 of the 12 tribes of Israel. But that's about it. They don't have the narratives of the patriarchs. They don't have the prophetic call or the leadership of Moshe Rabbeinu. They are, for all intents and purposes, at least within the context of Torah, pretty parv. Not too exciting, not too groundbreaking, they just kind of are. But that is precisely what makes their place in this blessing so beautiful and so powerful. Because the fact that they are, that they hold true to their heritage, their family, their peoplehood, is the quintessence of what we should wish for our children. If we as Jews in America are like any of our great ancestors, then we are like Ephrayim and Menashe. We are a minority drip of in a bucket of culture and society that at best is allied with us, and at worst is hostile and hateful against us. And remember, Ephrayim and Menashe grow up in Egypt. They're the only Jews that they know. They're surrounded by Egyptians. And just like Ephrayim and Menashe growing up in Egypt, we are taught from early on to be part of the whole and to minimize those things that make us different. For the great majority of us, our first language isn't Hebrew. Most of us don't have payas or have tzitzit hanging visibly on our clothing. And many of us don't wear any kind of demarcating piece of Jewish identification when we're out in public. Maybe a piece of jewelry, and maybe a kippah. But here we are, davening together on Shabbat morning. Here you are, listening to a sermon about Birkat Banim, about blessing our children from your home. Because even a global pandemic can't keep you from your Yiddishkeit. And that might not seem like a big deal, but it is. It is a big deal. In some ways, it's a bigger deal than listening to that first call like Abraham. In some ways, it's a bigger deal than offering up our bodies on the mountain like Isaac. And in some ways, it's bigger than hoofing through the wilderness like Moshe. Because even in the wilderness, everyone was together. Everyone was family. They were justified in what it meant to live their Jewish lives. It is a big deal to spend your Saturday morning with us. It's a big deal to spend your Saturday morning with your synagogue family. It's a big deal to open a siddur, to trace the ancient letters of our language with our eyes and with our fingers. And it's a big deal to lay your hands on children, on grandchildren, and poo-poo-poo, Kenahara great-grandchildren, to pray with fervency and with an overflowing heart that it will be a big deal to them as well. It's a big deal. Why Ephrayim and Menashe? Why do we bless our kids with these two names? Because of hope, because of persistence, tenacity, and the sacred chutzpah of surviving when the world told us that we wouldn't, that we couldn't. That's why. This week, this country of ours will celebrate the holiday of Christmas. There will be beautiful songs and light, mediocre movies, and strange but tasty egg concoctions that for some reason only come out during this time of year, but I think are pretty tasty. And we'll probably feel a little left out. Just like Ephrayim and Menashe probably felt a little left out. But we'll be okay. Because then it will be Friday. And the sun will start to set in the afternoon, early in the afternoon, dipping into the horizon of our gray Michigan winter sky. And it will be our turn for beautiful songs and lights. It will be our turn to sing, to smile, to laugh, and of course, to bless. And so, if you'll allow me, I'd like to extend my bracha for my son this week to all of you, my family. That God may bless you like he blessed Ephrayim and Menashe. That you should hold true to who you are. That you should embrace the invaluable treasure of Jewish peoplehood, expression, and identity. And that your heart should be filled with an unshakable pride that never ceases in singing the words of Am Yisrael Chai. That the Jewish people live Lador Vador. May God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine on you and forever be gracious unto you. May God look upon you with favor and grant you peace.